Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're embarking on a pretty fascinating journey to demystify the invisible mechanics of how companies actually create and deliver value. We interact with businesses every single day, right? But we rarely stop to think about the complex web of decisions that brings a product to our door or a service to our screens. So let's dive right in and uncover the core concepts of products, services, and the crucial processes that ultimately drive a company's organizational objectives.
Now, think about the last time you hit checkout online or handed over your credit card. What exactly were you paying for? If you bought a smartphone, were you just buying metal, glass, and lines of code? Or were you buying convenience, status, and ongoing support? It's really easy to think of purchases in simple transactional terms, but the reality of what a business is actually delivering to you is far more layered than that.
And this brilliantly illustrates why that question is actually kind of tricky. The line between a product and a service is incredibly blurred. While we usually think tangibility is the main distinction, meaning, you can touch a product but not a service, the truth is most products carry heavy service responsibilities. Take a car, for example. Yes, you are buying a physical, tangible machine, but wrapped up in that purchase is an expectation of tune-ups, warranties, and maintenance. You're not just buying a thing, you're buying a product-service bundle. To truly grasp how this all works, here's our roadmap for today. 1. The product versus service divide. 2. Decoding crucial product decisions. 3. The intangible nature of services. 4. Processes as the business engine. And 5. Crafting winning operational strategies. Okay, Section 1. Product versus service, the fundamental divide. Before drafting any sort of operations strategy, we have to establish these baseline differences. I always like to think of this divide using an iceberg analogy. Products are the visible tip of the iceberg, right up there above the water. They are tangible items created for acquisition or consumption. And because they're physical, a company can review them, quality check them, and correct any defects before they ever reach your hands. Services, on the other hand, are the massive interaction happening beneath the surface. They're intangible activities or experiences. The absolutely crucial point here is that services are generally produced and consumed simultaneously. There's literally no pre-delivery review. If a haircut or a legal consultation is going poorly, you're experiencing it in real time as it's being created.
Moving on to Section 2. Product decisions, strategic choices. Now that we understand tangibility, let's zoom in on the physical side of things for a minute. Bringing a product to market isn't just about manufacturing it. It requires a highly specific framework of strategic choices to differentiate it from competitors. It breaks down into 5 interconnected stages. It starts with product attributes, defining the features, the quality, the core value. Then we move to branding, giving the item an identity. Next is packaging, which protects but also markets the item. Then labeling to inform the consumer, and finally support services. Remember our car example? Support services are not just some afterthought, they're a fundamental stage of the product decision framework itself. Now, beyond designing a single item, operations managers have to make higher-level strategic decisions, specifically regarding their product line and product mix. Let's clarify this jargon really quick. A product line refers to a group of closely related products. Think of a major brand's specific lineup of running shoes. It's all about the breadth and depth within a specific category. The product mix, however, is the big picture. It's the optimal combination of absolutely everything a company offers. Dialing in the right mix is exactly how a business maximizes its overall market share and hits those big organizational objectives. But here's the catch. Consumer needs and technologies are evolving incredibly fast. Remember floppy disks? They were completely obsoleted by USB drives, which are now being made redundant by the cloud. Continuous evolution of these product decisions isn't just a best practice. It is absolutely mandatory for business survival and long-term goal attainment. Section 3. Intangible services, fulfilling needs. Let's shift gears from the tangible products over to the experiential side of things. Just like products, not all services are created equal. We typically see 2 very different approaches to service design and operations. On one side, we've got mass service. Think of a fast food restaurant or a commercial airline. The goal here is standardized delivery, high volume, and efficiency, usually with moderate customer contact. On the exact opposite side, we have professional services, like a legal firm or a specialized accounting practice. Here, the service relies on highly skilled professionals delivering a massive degree of customization tailored to one client's complex needs. Both provide huge intangible value, but as you can see, their operational setups are completely different. All right, Section 4, Processes Engine, the business core. So, how do these products and services actually come to life? They don't just appear out of thin air.
This brings us to the massive, invisible structure running the entire show: processes. Think of a process as the engine of a business, and every engine needs fuel, right? The foundational building blocks, the inputs required to start any operation, fall into a few key categories: material, machines, manpower, management, and money. Without these vital inputs, the business engine simply cannot turn over. Once you actually have those raw inputs, they enter the engine room, the core transformation process. This is where the magic happens. It's a highly structured sequence of actions that takes those raw materials, the information, and the human effort, and physically or administratively transforms them into something of much higher value. But it doesn't stop at the output. The system is actually a continuous loop. To keep the whole cycle perfectly aligned with those overarching organizational objectives, a business relies heavily on continuous feedback from the output stage. Updated requirements from the outputs have to be fed right back into the inputs. If customers aren't happy with the service output, the management input needs to step in and adjust the transformation process. It's totally dynamic. Managing that massive loop requires some serious structure. Operations management processes typically rely on 4 key activities to ensure efficiency and quality. First up is planning, figuring out exactly what needs to be done. Second is preparing, gathering all the necessary resources. Third is executing, actually running the transformation. And fourth is assessing, checking that feedback to see if the desired outcome was achieved cost-effectively. Which leads us to our final section, Section 5, Operational Strategies Crafting Success. We've looked at the product, the service, and the process. Now let's tie the whole shebang together. Ultimate organizational success really comes down to how well management can align these 3 elements into a winning operational strategy. But a winning strategy doesn't just execute itself. It requires systematic oversight of daily workflows. Operations managers are tasked with process design to refine workflows, performance measurement to track efficiency, and continuous process improvement. Plus, they handle the heavy lifting of supply chain management, logistics, and financial oversight. Systematically managing these specific, day-to-day tasks is exactly how a company translates high-level strategic goals into daily, measurable organizational objectives. So if there is one crucial point you should take away from this explainer, it's this: product, process, and service decisions do not exist in vacuums. They are entirely 100% interconnected. The way a product is designed dictates the exact manufacturing process required. That chosen process then directly impacts the cost, the quality, and the reliability of the item. And finally, the quality of the associated service delivery impacts ultimate customer satisfaction. If even one piece of this triad is misaligned, the entire value creation journey stumbles. I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Product decisions often make or break companies. Every single feature you add, every service you bundle, and every process you design is a strategic choice with massive downstream effects. So, taking a hard look at the invisible operational mechanics we've uncovered today, are the product, service, and process decisions in your organization making your company or breaking it? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring the fascinating engine of business operations. Catch you next time.